Today in the crypto space, we're getting a bit of relief to the upside. Bitcoin at about $58,000, Ethereum right around that $2,500 mark, and the rest of the crypto space, the altcoins, are a mix of green and red. However, we do have some good gainers like Uniswap and Aave, and we also have a few dips like Toncoin and Matic. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one altcoin that is in a transitionary phase. It looks like it's trying to bottom out and get that reversal to the upside alongside the rest of the market, and that project is called Mintlayer. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here. We can see that the overall market cap at the current moment, is getting a bit of relief to the upside. However, still within a strong trend. You can see the trend is still our friend in the sense that we're making lower lows and lower highs. Yeah, we got a bit of relief, but we're also down approximately 1.2% in the shorter term. This is the thing here, guys. We get peaks and valleys. However, the pops that we get to the upside, the moves to the upside, are not stronger than the moves to the downside. And it's clear because this is why we're getting a downtrend. What's interesting to me is the trading volume. Even what happens after each little rally up, you can see from here to here, we went up, look at the volume. From here to here, we've been going up today, look at the volume. Every time we dip, in fact, we're getting volume coming down. This is the opposite that we've been seeing in the last little while. Every time we've been taking dips in the last little while, we've been seeing the volume increase. Finally, we're seeing a bit of a different change here. We're seeing that the volume increases when the market cap rises. That means that technically we're diverging. That means that technically the market participation is more interested in the market cap rising than it is falling. However, we're still in that trend. So as this divergence plays out, I feel like ultimately we should be forming a bottom, even if it's a short-term relief rally on the daily, which could be significant. Even seeing Bitcoin hit its tops again, 70 to 72K, is very, very possible. I just feel like at the current moment, there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. The FUD is there, and we definitely need to stay one step ahead here and prepare for what could be happening. I know the bearish sentiment is there. Guys, if you missed out on my video yesterday on Bitcoin, I kind of laid it out there. I was very clear. I was very concerned about how the market is so bearish when in fact we are still above some previous lows, which is super important because the sentiment is the negativity of the sentiment is a lot more than it is now than it was back then when we were actually at lower prices, which doesn't really make sense. But it does when you start factoring in time. When you factor in the time that we have been in this sideways consolidation in this market, guys, if you look at the market cap still kind of like going sideways, dipping, kind of going sideways, and look at Bitcoin price sideways, even Ethereum going sideways. In fact, Ethereum got a bit of relief in the last little while, but it doesn't matter. What I'm trying to say is over time, when we go sideways and the price action is boring and the market is not giving us opportunity, we tend to want to exaggerate the reality of what's happening here. We become emotional individuals. So what we need to do is take a deep breath and take a break. Maybe go, get out there, go on vacation, look the other way for a little while, because the reality is the market is going to wake up, right? The market is going to wake up, and now is the time to take a bit of a break and then come back and hustle. Because I know it's stressful. I know it's stressful looking at charts all day. Don't do that. Chart paralysis is definitely a thing. When you look at charts for way too long, everything starts to look the same. You definitely want to take that break. Okay, so we do want to see Ethereum wake up as well. We want Bitcoin to hold steady, nice and strong. We want to see Ethereum hold up and look strong because it is traditionally the indicator to us that the altcoin season and the altcoins are going to be showing strength. BNB is falling. Solana has been dipping and dripping, although it did go up 1.4% today. That's fine, but it's still making lower lows and lower highs. So if Solana or BNB are going to be the catalyst of the altcoin season, this is not a good look. We want Solana to do a lot better. I was going to do a video on Solana today because of the structure. The structure is still holding up very, very nice, guys. So maybe tomorrow, let me know in the comment section below if you want me to cover Solana, because I feel like the price action is doing pretty good and it might be a great risk to reward ratio opportunity. But if you continue going down, guys, you can see that, you know, a lot of the altcoins are still kind of dripping down, trying to hold its horizontals desperately. Toncoin lost it. It's down another 7.5%. You know, it's down 17.5 in the last little while. It's going to be in a state, it's going to be in a state where it becomes undervalued. And in fact, it's an opportunity to take a punt. I'm just letting the negativity kind of, you know, finish. I want to see the sell-off be done. I want the sellers to sell so that I can go and buy liquidations and buy at lower levels. So being patient sometimes definitely does pay off. Toncoin waiting, definitely waiting. Cardano dripping as well. However, bullish upgrades, bullish sentiment is slowly picking up on Cardano. Cardano's also, I'm getting drift that Cardano's also coming up with its own version of you know, a meme coin launch pad, you know, almost like Pumped Up Fun, and it should definitely do well. Of course, we've seen many of them. Even the Tron meme coin launcher is definitely doing good, and so many others. So this is what we want to see, is, you know, trends. And remember, the trend is your friend until it's not. So the latecomers to the space might not get as much of a pump as it was on Solana, but Cardano's definitely doing its thing. What else do we have here? We see the market is pretty much, all these fractals are pretty much the same, guys. They're cookie cutters. They're pretty much all the same. Look at this, stamped out, almost identical, give or take, you know, 0.5% on the chart, but it doesn't matter. The reality is structure is the same. We're dripping lower lows and lower highs, except Uniswap. Uniswap is up 5.5%. Why would Uniswap be up at the current moment? People are holding, people are buying Uniswap, anticipating Ethereum to wake up, or the Ethereum narrative to wake up. Even though ETH in general, or anything related to ETH, other projects related to ETH are not doing as well as Uniswap for that matter. So we got to understand. I think Aave is doing pretty good, but nonetheless, OKB is getting a nice pop to the upside, and we have many others. Maybe Aave is doing pretty good. It has been doing good for the last month, decently in comparison to the rest of the market. But as you keep on going down, guys, the market looks like it's in a transitionary phase. You know, going from bearish to bullish. There's that moment in time where you're going sideways, where the majority of the price action is choppy, very indecisive, you know, whipsaw price action. People get flushed out, wrecked, and we get all, whatever you want to think about it. It's sideways and not the best time to be trading. However, it usually is a good time to start accumulating, right? Because you're getting that structure that you can kind of slowly dabble into. Injective got a nice bounce. We're getting a few good moves to the upside. Dog with hat, nice potential cup and handle into here. If we get into more detail, you might be able to see it to make sure it's not invalidated. That last dip was pretty deep. KuCoin not looking good, and Gate not looking good. Usually they're good indications that market is coming back in for some more you know, price action, but we'll keep an eye on it. You guys know I like keeping an eye on the exchange tokens, and that's about it, guys. Yeah, FTN doing good, Flow not too bad, Mantra waking up in the last few days, not bad. And we have Starknet doing pretty good, waking up 7.3%. So these are things that we should be waking up to as well. What narrative are these altcoins from? And what kind of indications could they be giving us based off the whole network effect? All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts, so let's begin. Let's begin looking at Bitcoin. Let's see what's going on here. Obviously, nothing much. Yeah, we got a bit of relief today. Yes, we popped a little bit higher than we were yesterday. The dump yesterday brought in all kinds of fear, but guess what? We're back at 58,000. Now what? We're back to where we came from. Let's look at this in a bit more detail. The reality is, guys, I get it. We have to remain bearish. I understand. I am also remaining very bearish in the sense that I do expect to continue battling this phase, right? As long as we're below the 200 daily, we have no choice. As long as we're below horizontal resistance or, you know, previous supports, guys, we have no choice. I get it. But I also want to be very neutral about the situation, big picture. Short term, very bearish. I understand that. But in the big picture, which is what we've been tracking for the last 200 days or something like that, as we've been going sideways, the reality is it's still bullish. It's still very bullish. So it's absolutely fine for a trader to be bearish and bullish at the same time, depending on the time frame. And sometimes those time frames, they overlap. And when you find an overlap, those are the best opportunities. Imagine I'm bullish right now. I'm bullish on the big picture here on the daily. But imagine if I get bullish on the 4-hour. I get also bullish on the 1 hour. And my big picture daily, maybe even weekly, is still bullish. Guys, your time frames are in confluence. Right now, to be honest, on lower time frames, I'm bearish. But on the daily, on the 4-day, on big picture time frames, on this big flag right here, I'm still bullish and super bullish, because what will happen if Bitcoin breaks out of these tops, out of this structure right here, is going to cause a massive run. Okay, because the emotions will pick up significantly. People that doubted Bitcoin or doubt crypto at the current moment will definitely be FOMOing in. They'll be worried that they're going to be missing out on the next run to the upside, because guess what? Once we break above 72, guys, or 73, right around here, 74, right on this top, guys, we get into price discovery. And we know what happens in price discovery, especially if you've been around. That's where you get the exponential gains. That's where the altcoins start to run. That's where everything starts to play catch up against Bitcoin. And that's where we start to make some massive gains. So really, I have nothing much else to say. We've been tracking volatility. If you look at the orange line, volatility has been going up and down, up and down. And guess what? Every time that happens on the volatility line, majority, I would say 9 out of 10 times, it's fairly accurate. No indicator is going to give you 100% accuracy. All we could do is get a slight edge and make our calculated risk assessments and react. But what I can say is this: we are now oversold on the orange line. We're leaving the bottom. Supposedly, we're supposed to be going back for another impulsive move to the upside. And guess what, guys? We already got into an extreme oversold condition. We came down to backtest. Is this the higher low? Is this a higher low? And then we go for another higher high. It could be possible. It could be possible, guys. So I'm not going to be super bearish here. Although, again, short term, it does look a little bearish. But what about a reversal? What about our big picture break to the upside, guys? Don't miss out. Slowly DCA. At best case, a bit at a time. DCA and deploy capital. I think September is accumulation month. Let's refer to September as accumulation month. Systematically, forget about price. Systematically go in there, find your top 5, find your top 3, whatever altcoins you like, whatever projects you like, and slowly deploy on a weekly, maybe every other day or every third day. Just go in there and deploy a bit of capital. And if you get red dates, deploy a little bit more. That way you can drag your average cost down, because Bitcoin could definitely end up waking up any moment now, guys. This is definitely a scenario that I don't want to miss out on. So, of course, I don't want to be a moon boy here. I definitely don't, because I'm saying it is bearish from the short term. But what about the structure? What about the broadening wedge right here? The descending broadening wedge, statistically speaking, should break out bullish, and based on our cycle, we should also continue to the upside. All right, guys, let's move on. Let's talk about Mintlayer. What's going on with Mintlayer? We were having a bit of a conversation on Mintlayer on the Discord today. Guys, by the way, join the Discord if you want to join. It's absolutely free. We talk about crypto. We talk about setups. We talk about sentiment. Whatever comes to mind as to what we need to do to navigate these markets. We help each other out. There's a lot of educational resources. We got a great group of individuals there trying to, navigate the market. And especially if we start waking up, we want to be prepared. So feel free to join. But we've been talking about Mintlayer. Why did Mintlayer and every other project related to the Bitcoin improvement narrative, let's put it that way, kind of came down significantly like this, right? I would call it the Bitcoin narrative altogether, like ordinals and so on and so forth. We have to understand that there's a couple things here. Number one, this whole narrative is competing against layer ones that already exist. L1s that don't need, or in this case, why do we need a mint layer? The reality is the background technology is Bitcoin technology. They're just layering it up, or they're, side chaining and pretty much putting other technology on there so that it could be possible to deploy smart contracts, which Bitcoin cannot do, which is the value proposition amongst many of these blockchains that are pretty much using the Bitcoin architecture from its tech stack, pretty much. However, it's still very speculative. Now, if you look at Mintlayer's market cap, It's very small market. I think it's under a $30 million market cap, if I'm not mistaken. It's very small. It's not big. Don't quote me on that number, but I think it's very small. I know it's small. Now, the reality is when you're talking about small market caps, new narrative, new projects altogether, right? This is not an old project that's been around for multiple seasons. This is its first season. We have to understand, based on its genesis date or deployment date, there's a lot of uncertainty still. And the way we classify assets is based on risk, right? That's the first overarching type of classification, right? For an investor, for that matter, because the way we structure our portfolios should be based on risk, because risk is public enemy number one for a trader, for an investor. You want to know if you're taking risk, you want to make sure the reward is definitely in balance with the amount of risk that you're taking. So if you take that recipe and take that mindset and you look at Mintlayer, you have to understand that the risk is still very high, you know, because of its new stance in the market, that it's just a new project. It's a new narrative for the most part. And its market cap is very low, which means it lacks stability in the market, right? For many reasons, for many aspects. Now, the tech is great. It's solid. You know, if you need a deep dive, I would suggest that you do a lot of research so that you can confirm all its, you know, its overall overarching technology that it has to offer the market as a software solution. But despite all that, it doesn't matter. It's still a risk-on asset within a risky narrative or a risky asset class, which is crypto. Right? It is a very risky asset. So we have to understand that as soon as people start to see a bit of uncertainty in the market, projects like Mintlayer will be the ones to retrace and come down harder than the rest. And it doesn't mean that it's a direct reflection on Mintlayer and what it has to offer the market. It just means the reality is that responsible traders, responsible investors are going to take profit and exit the market when they see signs of risk, starting with the most risky, which are the lower cap altcoins. Let's call them the penny stocks of the crypto space, the lowest of the low. And then obviously looking at, you know, narrative itself and technology itself. Mintlayer doesn't have much roots. However, you have to be fundamentally bullish in order to accumulate at this current moment. You have to do that deep dive. You got to go look at the tech. You got to look at the team, the tokenomics, the overall value proposition. You got to look at the token distribution. You got to look at what kind of VCs are involved. You got to look at the circulating supply, the max supply, and all the tokenomics, the token metrics that will make you bullish. Once you do all that and you still feel bullish, this is the best time to buy. Because the reality is that the retracement is deep. I get it. It looks bad. But this is normal for such an asset. If you rewind time and you look at Bitcoin in its early days, its retracements were massive. And the reason why is because in its early days, Bitcoin was speculative and it was new. And nobody knew what the heck was going on. Nobody knew if it would survive. Nobody knew if it could survive a recession. And to be honest, Bitcoin didn't really get into a major recession. If you want to call this current economic climate a recession, that's fine. Bitcoin is doing good. So the reality is Mintlayer is going through its growing pains. And Mintlayer and many other projects, you know, Tectum, you know, its partner, let's call it, is also retracing like this. And there are many others, guys, across the market, not the majority of them, but there are many, a good amount of them that look very similar. A quick sweep of the lows, or when we come down in some sort of wedge and it looks sharp, and now it looks like it's trying to hunt a bunch of liquidity where we eventually get its pivot point pattern and structure. And that's what we're going to look at. So ultimately, sentiment right now, there's a lot of fear out there for Mintlayer, and justful based on price action, and justful based on the fact that it is a very speculative asset within the most speculative asset class. Okay, so we got to understand that. Now that we're down here, we can understand that there's the majority of the risk is out of the market at the current moment because you're no longer buying tops. You know, you're not buying tops anymore. You're buying bottoms. In fact, you're buying exit liquidity. You're buying liquidity that are people getting wrecked down here and potentially selling on a loss or exiting on stop losses at zero, or maybe even hitting liquidation points at this level. And you can see the price actions looking pretty good with a lot of market participation getting involved. After this level here, I'm concerned. I'm concerned that we are going to start to see a change in the volume. What I am seeing here is an increase increase in volume up until right around here, and then once we leave this mark, we start to diminish, we start to come down. And if you follow the price action, we've been making lower lows up until around here as well, and then up until this point, we've been making a slightly impulsive move with a higher low as of now, not confirmed higher low. But look what happens from here to here. You know, volume is coming down. Not a good look. I'm not happy about that. However, it takes very little to, especially after a confirmation low, which it looks like it's trying to do at the current moment, to give us that right shoulder. And we'll talk about the structure in a second. All it takes is this confirmation to get a nice volume spike and then continue. Then this hump right here of volume will be buy pressure instead of sell pressure, which we've been getting right here. We want some buy pressure. So confirmations will give people the confidence to buy, and that's how we will increase the volume, but the volume will be buy pressure instead of sell pressure. So confirmation low, let's talk about that. Right now, that's what we're doing. Now, I want to go into the oscillators for a sec. Let me just clean this up a bit so my artwork doesn't get in the way. And then we can kind of like look at some of these oscillators. Guys, you know that this custom oscillator has been doing great. You know, it's a multi-momentum oscillator, has been doing good. And we've been seeing that, you know, the expansion to the downside right here. In fact, although it didn't make a lower low, it's a higher low on the expansion, which is the red expansion wave in the background. Okay, that's fine. That's a divergence right there. Then if we start looking at the price action, we start looking at the momentum line, which is the purple line. You know, this bottom is lower than this bottom. Okay, well, the price action is telling you the opposite. That's class A bullish divergence. Fine. Nice indication there, right? Now, all into this level, we're getting some green dots suggesting that there's confluence here that we maybe should be accumulating. Now, I know it happened in the past and right into here, but we got everything else basically telling us be careful. We did get a bit of relief, but nothing major. This is the level of which we are currently building a structure to get bullish on. Okay, so we got a bit of follow through and we got rejected on the previous high. Very typical. Now, if you follow the volume, look at this. Lots of volume, market participation, everything happening in here. Basically, we want to break. We want to break above this volume structure, which you can see it's at about, let's make this a little bit more accurate, because now we got more data than we did in the past. 17.62%, 17.6% is what we need to break above. But if we get this higher low right now, and we see the momentum, the purple line, get extremely overbought, again, extremely overbought right up here, because I'm not convinced that it's done, to be honest, because the yellow line, the yellow momentum, the yellow trend line, the moving average of the momentum, you know, is definitely, you know, slowly moving upwards. Is it done halfway like this? I feel like it's going to want to get overbought. So if it gets overbought and we get to that level, we're going to expect that above the 70% mark, which is this mark right here, if you look at the oscillator, above the 70 is where we get the majority of the impulsive move. That's where we get the aggressive move to the upside. And it just so happens that if we do get this bottom right here, it becomes the right shoulder. This is the left shoulder, right? This is the head, and this is the neckline right into here. If we do get that pop, the question is, do we get enough momentum once we get overbought? And if we get overbought, of course, that we actually break to the upside. Now, just keep in mind that we have the 200 daily right here. Just keep in mind we have a bit of weakness on the volume gap right here, so that we could get to a little bit higher levels. Just understand that if this becomes the pivot point structure, like Lithium is doing, and many other projects that are far ahead of their price action, breaking out of wedges, are currently making this transitionary type of price action to suggest a pivot point to the upside. We're looking to go from bearish to bullish, and this is what we call a change of character, right? We want to get above this zone. So again, because we got rejected here, we're kind of getting a bit of confidence in the zone that this is the neckline that needs to break based on volume. And what we're looking for is a confirmation low, a higher low, to give us that indication that this bottom right here was the absolute bottom, and that this was the bottom, and that we are looking for now a change of direction. And the oscillators are doing a pretty good job. The only oscillator that I got here, the only indication that's showing me that, you know what, we got to be careful still in the short term, is the trend oscillator. Let me show you what I got here. Let me get this one out of the way. The momentum oscillator has been killing it, to be honest. I got to do a bit of an upgrade on this one very, very soon. I have a feeling that we could improve on some of this, so I'm going to be whipping up some code very, very soon and deploying that. And if you are a subscriber to the indicator, the multi-trend indicator, I will definitely release those updates to you for sure. So now, as you can see, We are getting still that EMA cross to the downside with red histogram bars, but the expansion is also kind of flopping down, which I don't like that. We went from dark purple to light purple, and that's usually an indication that we're ready to reverse. Now, if you look at that, look what happened here, right? Pale purple, it came down right here. Okay, maybe we got a bit of a pop to the upside right into here. And then pale purple, and we started coming down even further. Now, it's very clear that once we got into the blue expansion to the downside, that's super bearish. That's why we've been coming down so much. Just basically saying that every bullish response up until now pretty much could be very weak. Now, I want you to see something, because there's a bit of a trend happening. I know I have that trend line below, and I just want to kind of put this all into perspective. You can see that ultimately we've been getting a slow drip to the upside. We've been slowly grinding up. That's Class A bullish divergence at its best. Okay, we're doing great. Look at the EMAs slowly grinding to the bullish control zone, which is the top half of the oscillator above zero. As soon as we see the EMAs above zero, it's very likely that we start seeing bigger purple expansions to the upside. And that's where we get the majority of the moves similar to this. Look at what happened here. We were in the bearish control zone for so long down here, of course, you know, battling, trying to get above. As soon as we get above, start to move. Guys, what if that happens right now? Doesn't it look like it may want to make that attempt, considering that we were getting multiple drives of bullish divergence on the trend for so long, and finally hitting a nice horizontal level of support, potentially getting a structural change? And for me, that's where I want to take risk. So of course, we're not going to get all in. We're not going to be going totally crazy, but this is the total time. This is the time where I am deploying capital. I am DCAing and building positions on Mintlayer. Right now, Mintlayer is up 6.5%, okay, from the last little while, and I've been keeping an eye on Mintlayer because I feel like it's going to be a good gainer. And I might as well say it did create a nice basically get involved with Tectum with a partnership, and Tectum should also do very well in the next little while. And I've been noticing that they're almost working in tandem. So let me know in the comment section if you want me to take a look at Tectum or any other project, guys. I'll be glad. Join me live tonight, 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. And of course, I'll definitely put them in top priority. Guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor. Slap the like button. It does really help with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. And don't forget, I'm going to be live again, 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.